people, welcome to my podcast Life Adventures Taught Me. My name is Alex, and for the listeners who are listening to this podcast for the first time, this podcast is in general about my life experiences. So there is a wide range of different directions and topics that I talk about, such as life philosophy, travel adventures, self-development, and many other different topics that I find interesting. And today's topic is my first student exchange, life in Spain. Spain is the first foreign country where I lived, so it was for the first time dealing with some new challenges, such as language barrier, let's say. Like when I went to Spain to study over there in Spanish language, I didn't speak Spanish at all. And before all, why I chose to do a student exchange, let's say it's because as I mentioned in previous episodes, I wanted to change a lot of countries during my 20s, like foreign countries, to live over there, to experience different cultures and different customs. So I saw the student exchange as a perfect way to start this dream coming true. At the start I applied for different student exchanges for different countries, such as I think it was Portugal and Spain, and the one I got, it was in Alcaladehenares, the city near Madrid, like 40 kilometers or something like that, at the University of Alcalá. I still remember the excitement that I had, like when I got the letter to my email that I have been accepted and that I got the scholarship and that in general everything is approved and that I will be going there in just like 1 month or something. So there was a lot of excitement, but before that I needed to get visa approved. The process was a little bit late, so I came, let's say, at the end of January 2018. Oh my god, it's more than 6 years ago. Time flies so fast. And actually I think that Spain as a country is my favorite country that I visited and where I would like to live. It matches my mentality, my personality, and let's say my expectations before the trip and before going there. The big difference would be that I was expecting that there will be much warmer immediately, but the thing that I got surprised is that actually in Spain, as I didn't know before, that they also have winter, and the winter is also not so short. It depends of the parts of the Spain, but for example, I didn't even know on the north of the Spain it's always raining. When you hear about Spain in general, you just think about the summertime, good weather, which is in Andalusia on the south. But what I've been thinking before going over there, I thought that all Spain is like Andalusia, like really good weather, like mild winters, but actually they do have winters, and as I have seen, they have snow. Especially on the north it's colder, where it's raining a lot in the cities such as Santander, Bilbao, San Sebastian, Santiago de Compostela, in all of these cities that are on the north. The thing that I really got surprised about was that they also have a big range, like big variety of climates. So when I arrived there, as I said, it was end of January, it was still cold, and I remember people saying, oh, it's gonna get warmer now, it's gonna get warmer now. And I remember during this exchange the weather was quite coldish until May, and they say it was one of the coldest years for Spain. And I even remember when we were at our university, we had a class and it was snowing, like the snowflakes were really huge, and I remember all the students, they were so excited to see the snow because it's really rare in the area of Madrid to see the snow. At least it was before. Now I have seen last years it showed up quite a few times. But back then in 2018, I remember all the students, they were like jumping on the window to see. They didn't even listen to the professor. We were all, even me, like we were excited to see it because it was snowing crazy, and all of us, we were on the windows like looking at it. So those were the expectations, that there is like quite warmer. But when I came there and on one of my first classes when I saw snow, I was like, oh, okay, wait a minute. They also have snow and here it's also cold. So one of the biggest challenges when I arrived there, it was Spanish language. I was practicing a little bit on Duolingo, but that was too little. And I remember the situation in the bank when I needed to open my account where I would receive my scholarship. The lady was really nice and polite, but to open an account it lasted for more than 2 hours because she was explaining me like some words and I was using Google Translate, and the internet on my phone was like quite bad. And I remember it was a big challenge even for the lady that was working there and for me, but we managed it. When I have arrived there to the city, Alcaladehenares, I really like the place. It's an older city, the city of Miguel de Cervantes. He was one of the famous Spanish writers and he wrote, I think, the novel Don Quixote. So there is his house as a touristic attraction and also many different older buildings. What points out for me there is the main street, like pedestrian street, Calle Mayor. Another challenge immediately on the start was that I needed to find a place where I will live, because online it was really hard. It's a student city, so if there is a flat for renting, people they take it, so you need to act fast. So that was a problem for me at the start. We couldn't find, even before we tried to find a place where we will live online, but we didn't. So when I first arrived to Spain, the first accommodation I had, it was in a hostel in the city center, right across the University of Alcalá. So the first few days I've been searching for a place. It was really hard, but the place where I found it, it was like a meeting of student exchange people from all around the world who came for university and to University of Alcalá. So it was like a meeting in this hostel, and I met there a lot of people who came for the same reason as I did. There I just asked around, and immediately, like right after talking to 3-4 people, I already found a place where I will live. So I lived in a shared flat with 5 other people, from my colleague Mila from Serbia, friend from Italy, China, Mexico and Austria. So it was an international sharing of the flat. And it was a good thing because it was never boring in the flat. There is always somebody who you can talk. So each one of us, we had our separate room, but we shared the kitchen and 2 bathrooms. And the living room where we all used to hang out and where we were inviting our friends. And about the school, about the university courses over there, for the first time I attended courses with students my age who were of different nationalities and races, so there was more of a cultural mix than as it is in Serbia. We are not so culturally mixed, I mean at our university. So it was a new thing for me, and it was like an American movie. A new experience, like something different for me, attending the classes with international people for the first time. So as I said, it was like from a movie, and even snowing that day, and I really like the vibe. And when I compare schooling Serbia and Spain, I would say that in Serbia is harder to pass the exams. To me in Spain it seemed like much easier. I know it depends of each university, each courses, each class, each professor, everything is differently, but on a general scale, from my experience as I see it, I would say that in Serbia we study more and it's a little bit harder than in Spain. It was not because of I was an exchange student, because usually for them it's easier to pass any exam, but just in general, when I was like analyzing even other students, like Spanish people who are not exchange students, and with passing exams with their material. And my squad that I had over there, I was closest with Spanish, Italian and Greek people. Saludos for them, and also saludos for all my other friends from France, Russia, Mexico, Georgia, Hungary. And something that I noticed throughout all of these exchanges, in total 4 that I did, I was mostly all the time with Spanish speaking people, so I guess this mentality suits me the best. My Latino people. During my stay over there, I visited many cities, I did a lot of traveling, so I saved a lot of money from scholarship. I was not spending too much on alcohol. We all know that in the student exchange in the student exchanges, we were drinking a lot. We have memories that we will remember for our life, and I still remember them, and many really funny situations. But I was not spending too much money on alcohol and stuff like that. I was saving it for my trips. Within these 6 months I did a lot of trips, and the cities that I have visited, I don't know if I will remember all of them. So I visited the cities around Madrid and Alcaladehenares. First day was like Segovia with the bridge, Escorial, I don't remember the name, Aranjuez. I hope I remember the names good. Toledo, I went there even 2-3 times. Then Malaga, one of my favorite cities over there, Granada, Barcelona, Valencia definitely. When I went there, I felt the energy, like this is it, this is the city where I would like to live. And 6 years passed and I still didn't go there. But it's on my list, it's one of the things that I would like to do in the next year. So Valencia, I'm coming soon. Then I visited Murcia, Torrevieja. I went to trip to Portugal, Porto and Lisbon, and I did the separate episode, second and third episode of this podcast. I went to Palma de Mallorca, Ibiza, and at the end of my exchange I went to Morocco, to Marrakesh, and I visited the desert Sahara. I would like to make a separate episode about Morocco. Also on my WordPress site I wrote a few articles about my trip over there, so definitely I will do a separate episode about Morocco. Oh yes, I forgot about Sevilla. I loved Sevilla and Cadiz. Also the first hitchhiking abroad I did over here. First one I did, it was from Porto to Lisbon that I talked about in the previous episode. But I tried to hitchhike with my Italian friend Giacomo to Bilbao, from Alcaladehenares to Bilbao, and what we made only 40 kilometers north from Madrid, and nobody wanted to stop. I don't know if we looked dangerous or the people, they just didn't like us, but we didn't make any further. So we just needed to take a bus back to Madrid and home to our flats in Alcalá. So that was a failure, and I did another failure in Spain. So as I realized, hitchhiking it's not really recommendable in Spain because people, they don't want to stop. I tried hitchhiking to Barcelona and I ended up 3 hours on the highway next to Alcaladehenares. I made 0 kilometers and I just got sunburned, and I came home really, really sad and burned from the sun. Now when I was going through all these photos and videos from the exchange, I downloaded them all from my Instagram stories and Instagram posts, and I really have a lot of posts. So while I was watching it, I really got nostalgic and I missed this period. And during June, I made the majority of the trips, so I decided not to pay for the flat anymore. I just wanted to travel around Spain, and I asked my friend if I can stay at their house just for a couple of days when I come back to Alcalá. So that's what I did. Something that I forgot to mention is that immediately when we came to Spain, after 2 weeks, we have started Spanish language course A1, and during those classes I was asking a lot of questions. And how do I say this? How do I say that? How do I say this word? How can you say, what are the rules for this and this? So I was asking a lot of questions on my course, and I think instead of like having the knowledge of A1, I have already A2, B1. And I was trying like to speak. I didn't care. Like, many people, they were laughing at me when I was trying to speak Spanish language for the first time. It was funny, but a lot of friends, they helped me with that. Every time I was trying to speak, they were telling me, okay, you said this wrong, you say this on another way. And actually after only 2 months I started speaking Spanish. So right now I speak Spanish language fluently, because during all of these exchanges I was all the time with Spanish speaking people. But I just want to say that here is where I started speaking Spanish, so only after 2 months. So a recommendation and advice, if you would like to learn a language, the best way to learn the language is either to watch TV shows and get used to listen to that language, but the best way is to go to the country, live over there and start speaking. No matter how much knowledge you have of the language, you just start speaking and don't be ashamed and don't be afraid of doing it, because that's the best way and the fastest way to learn the language. And that's how I learned Spanish language, really fast. I really like learning languages and especially Spanish. I don't know why, but when I speak Spanish language I feel really good. Speaking this language, I relate it to all the memories from Spain and with all my Spanish speaking friends. I would like to say some of the differences that I noticed is that as Spain uses the same time zone as Serbia, there is a big difference at the time of sunrise and sunset. So I remember in winter, like when I was going for classes, almost at 8 a.m. it was still dark, and I was like, oh my god, what is this? Like, why it's still so dark? Because sun rises much later than in Serbia. It's the same time zone, but they are much more on the west. And I remember that somebody told me that because of the leader of Carlo IV, Fifth, he was comparing with Germany back in that time and he wanted to be in the same time zone, so that's why Spain stayed in the time zone. And that's why I saw like this big difference, because when I was traveling with the bus and going for school bus at 8 a.m. I couldn't imagine like that it's still dark, but the day lasts longer. So at 11 a.m. in the summer they still have the day, and the day lasts until the late evening. And also another big difference, it's about breakfast. I have noticed that most of most of the Spanish people, for the breakfast they eat sweet things, and I noticed also in Italy they do it. But for me that was so weird, because not so weird, but I don't like to eat sweet in the morning. It's okay, but if I eat sweet I don't feel all the day good, because since my childhood I'm used to eat in the morning like a good breakfast and salty food, and then I feel like I have more energy for the day. When I used to hang out with those Spanish people and other guys from Europe, most of them were eating sweet things, and I remember I always chose for something salty. And I mean I felt always like I'm the different one, I'm like the weird one. But actually for me it was weird to eat sweet things for the morning. And yeah, that's the thing that I noticed that is different about the food. The typical thing is paella, and I really liked it, but I feel like I didn't try too much cuisine things. I would like to try next time I go to Spain, or when I live in Spain I would like to try a lot more what is like typical Spanish cuisine, something from Spanish kitchen that I didn't try. I feel like I didn't experience there enough. But I remember my favorite things were the olives with garlic taste. Oh my god, that with bocadillo, the sandwich made out of baguette, jamon iberico, the ham, tomato and a little bit of olive oil. That's what I love for the breakfast. And always when I was lazy I was going to Cien Montaditos, Spanish restaurant chain known for its unique concept of offering 100 different varieties of montaditos, which are small sandwiches. And when I compare Spanish language with other languages that I was studying and learning, I think Spanish language grammar it's much harder to learn than the English grammar. So Spanish language, like to speak and to read, is easy, pronunciation is easy comparing to English, but the grammar I would say it's much harder. And a lot of people say like, oh yeah, Spanish language is easier, you know, because a lot of people can understand Spanish language from this Televisia Presenta, what were those, like series, TV shows, and they were watching and they heard a lot of words, and that's why they understand more of a Spanish language, and then they think it's easier. It's not super hard language, but I think that majority of these people, they don't know the grammar of Spanish, that it's much harder than English, because there is so many different terminations at the end. And something that I hate, it's subjuntivo. I don't know what is in English, subjunctive, because there is like different tenses in the past, and then in subjuntivo all of them finish differently. Not to talk too much about it, grammar, it's a challenge. It was a challenge for me. I overcame it. I don't know until what level, but I can say that I speak Spanish fluently. And why I would like to live in Spain? It's because, as I mentioned before, mentality, and it suits my personality, it describes me. And what can I say about Spanish people? When I compare them with other nations, they are really much happier, much more adventurous. They like to socialize, to laugh, to hang out with their friends, have fun, and those are the things that I like to do. They like to enjoy their life, and I do too. So I would say they are the nation that knows how to live, how to enjoy the life, and I think they give a great example to other nations around the Europe, because I think a lot of nations in Europe can change it, because I feel like the life it's like with too much rules and they take it too serious. Of course, we need rules to be respected, but I think the Spain is doing a great work. Maybe with economics they are not the best, but with the type of life or lifestyle they certainly are. Let's see, 2 words for Spain. I would say freedom and happiness. So this experience, these life adventures, what it taught me? It taught me like, oh my god, I can live the way I want. I can be independent. I have my own freedom. I am the one who is in charge of my life. It taught me to listen more and understand different cultures, different people, different life background, and with more listening, understanding more. This experience made me much more open-minded, less judgmental, but I can say I was never too judgmental, but definitely after this experience and next experiences of other student exchanges, I really lowered my judgmental thoughts like to the minimum. So this student exchange experience brought me a lot of good things. It made me foster a deeper understanding and appreciation of cultural diversity. It made me learn to respect better cultural differences. It improved a lot my language skills in English and Spanish language, and being away from my previous life, it encouraged me to become more self-sufficient, more responsible, and confident in managing my daily life and challenges. I have improved myself in adaptability and flexibility to adjust to a new environment and to learn to be more flexible and more open-minded. Also, I have achieved a lot of academic knowledge, and something that is the most important for me personally, personal development. It helped me develop to have greater empathy, patience, and resilience, and it improved me a lot in problem-solving situations. And how this exchange impacted my future plans and perspectives, here is where I have realized, okay, I learned more about the things about me, about my freedom, the things that I like. This exchange definitely encouraged me, and experiences over here encouraged me to continue the way I'm going right now, go after the things that I want. So I went for more student exchanges, more traveling, and even now, like for some still dreams that I didn't make them come true, I'm working on them. So it definitely encouraged me to be more who I am and to discover more about myself. And I gotta say, in these 30 minutes that I talk about this exchange, I cannot even transfer not even 1% of all the feelings, excitement, joy, and really nice memories and experiences that I had. I cannot transfer that through the words. Like, that's something that you need to go through, to live it through, and to feel it on your own in order to transfer you all the things that I would like to say and all my impressions about it. So all the people who would like to have this kind of the experiences, I definitely encourage them. So an advice for people who are students now or who will become in the near future students, or in general in the future, I definitely encourage you to go for the things such as student exchange, because from there you will learn a lot more than staying just at the university and attending like the similar courses. Like, change your environment, make a lot of changes. It will make you get out of your comfort zone, and where you learn the best is when you are out of your comfort zone. It will bring you a lot of challenges that I didn't even have time now in this episode to mention about, but it will bring you much more good things, good experiences, and life lessons. And the point of student exchange is to foster cultural understanding, enhance language skills, promote personal growth, provide educational enrichment, and to develop also a global perspective. And at the end of the student exchange, when I was going home, like usually in other exchanges, I know like the feeling is like breaking your heart, because you need to say goodbye to many of those your friends that you had over there. Goodbye to those people, because you're never getting back to the same life. Like, you can be in touch with those people, but sadly with the most of those people you never see them again. Okay, I can say it passed like 6 years, like I did a few more exchanges, so I didn't have so much time because I was moving back and forth. But in general, I would like to say that I was expecting that some of the friendships that will go better, that I will see those people more, but it doesn't. I would say from my side, I will always give more effort to make it a better friendship, to see them more often. But I tried with a couple of friendship, and you need to do it from both sides. Like, this friendship, it's not from one side. If it's in interest of both, it will work. If the both sides, they don't put the same amount of effort, that friendship is going to get lost. So also, I would like to encourage you, if you have some exchanges, like if you live in different foreign countries and you like some people from your life over there and you would like to keep your friendship, you need to also to work on it and to put effort in order to preserve it. And I just want to say that some of the friendships I expected to go better, but in general, I still have a lot of those friends that I see from time to time. Some of the friendships, they still go on, some of do not, but that's normal, that's part of the life. But I definitely encourage you to go for an experience like this. There were many things I wanted to say, but I don't want neither this episode to last too long. I'll share all my thoughts in my future episodes, so I'm sure at the end I'm gonna say all of it through different experiences and different thoughts. This is where I would like to finish today's episode. I really enjoyed talking about it. It brought me so much memories, excitement, and good feelings. In the next episode, I will talk about my second student exchange in Poland, and after that about my third in Austria and fourth in Czech Republic. So each next weekend, there will be a new episode about the new student exchange. Once again, I would like to send saludos to all of these friends that I met on this exchange, and thank them for all the experiences and memories we together went through, and that I hope to see all of them soon and to see them again, so we organize some meetings and make new adventures and even better memories. To hear more from me, you can follow me on my social media, Instagram Don Alejandros, YouTube channel Don Adventure, TikTok, Facebook page, and Spotify podcast, also a YouTube podcast. You can find all the links below. Thank you once again for listening. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode and that you have learned something new. Ciao, ciao!